Aquaman!
Oh, ho, ho, geeks and nerds. That's right, we're already back because I'm a glutton for editing punishment and have no social life at all.
Well, okay, I will argue the social life aspect. I mean, you did have to go out to see the movie. So you left your house.
By myself, so I still stand by what I said.
Technically, you didn't see the movie by yourself.
Well, fair point.
I mean, you know, we didn't plan to see it together, but, you know, we were at the same theater at the same time, so...
Yeah, but either way, we're already back to review Aquaman. One announcement before we do that, because as you may have noticed, we're down a chair this time.
Yeah, we're kind of missing a body.
For those of you who maybe are just joining us now, our usual third host, Trevor, his wife was expecting a baby pretty much any time now, and that any time now was about 2 days ago.
Yes, so he was a little early for Stanley's birthday, but hey, he hit Yule, which, you know, is still a really cool date.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Sadly, I couldn't get the call on camera, but what are you gonna do?
So, welcome to the world, Jesse. Much prosperity to you and all that you do in your life.
And I'm just gonna add Mazel Tov, because I like saying Mazel Tov.
It's a good word. It's fun.
But, so with that out of the way, getting the actual review, let's be honest, the DCEU, look, Warner Brothers, no one's gonna call it Worlds of DC, no matter how many times you announce them at Comic-Con, it ain't gonna happen. The DCEU, shall we say, just doesn't exactly have the best of reputations.
Not lately, no.
Because when you've cranked out almost enough films to be comparable to the Marvel Universe in at least quantity, and up to this point, only one of those movies has been good, that's kind of a sign.
When are we starting to count from? Like, what year?
From Man of Steel
Oh.
to before Aquaman. Yeah, aside from Wonder Woman, yeesh.
Yeah, Wonder Woman was amazing. Do that again.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
And
we want more of that.
So along comes everyone's favorite frat boy, Aqua Bro, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna stop calling him that ever. Starring everyone's well-known dick to books and co-stars, Jason Momoa. Like I told her last night, like, I don't want to go into that in a whole lot of detail, but
If you're a bibliophile, don't go searching the information. Just leave it. If you love books at all.
yeah, we kind of have to acknowledge the simple fact that as much as I agree with the fact that Blake Shelton having won Sexiest Man over Jason Momoa is kind of a travesty, at the same time, I'm not going to ignore the fact that Momoa's kind of a dick.
And that does come... Okay, the frat boy comes through very much in this movie. Now, to be fair, it does play well in this movie. But, you know, if I were looking for somebody to date, this version of Momoa wouldn't be it.
And in all honesty, that would also be every version of Momoa. Aside from maybe Khal Drogo, he only has one kind of character that he can play.
Yeah, Khal Drogo was nice, especially because I didn't understand what he was saying. So, you know, he's pretty. What can I say?
But that said, with this movie, in terms of plot, this is basically, you could almost call this King Arthur crossed with the Little Mermaid.
Very much so. Like, oh my god, right down to the coloring. Hello, Ariel, Disney, Little Mermaid, teal and red. What is with the hair?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Oh, don't ever apologize for that.
I only watched Justice League last week, so I hadn't been exposed to Amber's Mara?
Yeah.
And I hadn't been exposed to Jason Momoa's Aquaman until last week, aside from any references that people have made. So, when I saw Justice League, I'd heard about the hair, because you had mentioned it before. And I was like, the hair's not that bad. And then I watched Aquaman. it's distracting. And I mean, if you want somebody to stand out in a crowd, you've succeeded 1,000-fold.
Yeah, now I am, of course, no expert in terms of wigs and so forth, but...
It was bad, Kanekalon. It was bad.
We have your feedback. I have seen comments and articles from top-notch cosplayers who have seen Amber Heard in, like, trailers for this movie and just went, no.
I mean, no! I don't wear wigs. I have wigs. I rarely wear them. The wigs that I have that cost like $30 are a much better quality than what Amber Heard wore in the movie. My kids have better wigs than what Amber Heard wore in the movie. You have a budget, get a better wig.
Yeah. And especially with the way this film is done in the box office, where it's already past $200 million. It's already made its budget back before even opening in North America.
Yep.
Because oddly enough, again, this is the touch of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And after having seen it, I understand why people in Asia misunderstood and thought it was a Marvel movie, because, yay! It's a good movie.
Oh, yeah. And so, back to the plot. We're going to summarize the plot, I swear. This is basically, again, our favorite frat boy saves a Russian sub that has been attacked by pirates, which you would think would be a little more difficult than it apparently was, but what are you going to do? And the leaders of this pirate crew are actually the once and future Black Manta, one of the primary villains in Aquaman's world. The guy, Michael Beach, the guy who plays
I love him.
This Black Manta's father.
Yeah, I love him.
He voices Black Manta in the Justice League cartoons.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, and as I complained in Into the Spider-Verse review, subtle references, people. Keep them subtle. Don't bludgeon us with them. It's the standard Aquaman story of Atlantis wanting to declare war on the surface world because
humans suck and they've destroyed the earth and they're destroying the ocean, and you know what? Atlanteans, yeah, I'll have a really good reason to hate us. Yeah. I'm not judging you on that at all.
Yeah, basically that. Like, we've seen this story probably at this point hundreds of times if you followed Aquaman at all. But it's so King Orm, like we said, wants to declare war on the surface world. He has to unite all the various armies of Atlantis because apparently Atlantis is 7 kingdoms instead of just one, which...
Think Game of Thrones, but underwater.
Yeah. And you're going to hear a lot, think this, but underwater, because that's about 90 to 95% of this movie.
There's only so many stories that can be told.
Yeah. And
that's a big part of what's going on. So, there are 7 chairs. Come on. There's literally 7 kingdoms. So yeah, it's basically Game of Thrones underwater.
Basically, the movie's gotten a lot of comparisons to Black Panther, and yeah.
And you can easily compare King Orm to Joffrey, because he's a shit.
Oh, in so many ways. So, Arthur, we meet Arthur in Act 2. Act 1 is pretty much exclusively Arthur's parents, Dr. Chase Meridian, look up Batman Forever, people, and Jango Fett. Again, not kidding, it's the same actor who Momoa apparently specifically requested because the guy is basically Momoa's acting idol.
Okay.
And you see Arthur and his dad together, and I'm going, this makes sense. They look like father and son.
They do.
I mean,
considering that Atlanta was, blonde and blue-eyed and Nicole Kidman. So, how else you can explain Jason Momoa?
And, well, that's the thing, like, Jason Momoa's Aquaman visually is the one that makes sense. Because basically, since the 60s, we've had the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aquaman that you take one look at him and go, how the hell did that happen in the deep ocean?
Technically, look at King Orm.
What
you lose in the coloring of Aquaman, you gain in his brother.
So we have our first meeting between Arthur and Mara. Like, I'm sorry, I've seen Justice League. It's kind of a continuity problem. I don't know which movie to blame for this. Although, let's be honest, Aquaman gets a free pass by comparison. And they go on their Arthurian quest to find the lost trident of Atlantis. So, with that, let's hit the spoiler alarm and get into the good stuff. Now, right away, could we please give Nicole Kidman more action roles?
She's actually pretty cool.
God!
And, like, at this point in time, ageless, unless that was a lot of airbrushing, because the woman didn't age at all.
That may have been airbrushing, that may have been CG.
Yeah,
but you know what?
They made Willem Dafoe's character younger as well for flashbacks. So, but I mean, it's Nicole Kidman, and I haven't seen her age in a good 20 years.
Oh no, also didn't. Like I said, I don't know if it was CG. I don't know if it was airbrushing, really good makeup, whatever. I don't care.
Botox.
She was badass as hell in that opening act.
She was.
And I want more! That was incredible. And it's, like, the opening act is this beautiful fairy tale that sets up Arthur, introduces him without stopping the movie to do it, which...
It was well done.
Again, that's how. Take your time, build your character over the course of the story. Don't stop the movie to tell us things.
Yeah.
Another thing, I'm just going to do the whole badass women in this thing right now. Something I caught on the IMDb trivia was Nicole Kidman accepted the role instantly as soon as James Wan said to her, you can wear Mother of Pearl and be a mermaid warrior. That is one of the most human reasons to accept a role, and I want to see more actors employing this logic.
Now, Mara was actually pretty... Mara held her own as well.
And you know what? In all seriousness, I honestly think they kept repeating how Arthur is the firstborn son, rightful heir to the throne of Atlantis, yada yada yada.
Half-breed that he is, yeah.
Because if they didn't, a lot of the stuff they did with Mara, you'd be going, why do we need Arthur?
Well, yeah. I mean, she's royalty in herself, in and of herself. Her father is one of the kings who has one of the thrones of the seven. So she is royalty.
Yeah.
But she's not a direct line from Atlan.
No, exactly. And just with a lot of the action sequences, again, her character development, you see her really losing her disdain for the surface world. Well, I mean, maybe not losing, more softening, but either way.
Eyes becoming opened.
Yeah.
As opposed to the whole humans are smelly, humans are stupid, humans are troglodytes who walk on the earth. Arthur does, do the whole don't judge what you don't know. And then they do that whole bright and colors and textures and smells. And look, this is the world that you're disdaining. And, and eating the roses was cute.
Yeah, there's eating the roses, the wishing fountain.
Yep, with the little girl.
And she just uses her water powers. As soon as the kid throws a coin into the fountain, she's making little dolphins, water dolphins jump around, and it's just, aww.
Yeah.
Like there's a little of everything. And overall, this movie goes a very, very long way toward confirming my long-held belief that as much as Warner Brothers seems to be insistent on trying to restart everything with the entire DCEU, changing all their plans again, that's completely unnecessary. The problem is, and always has been, Zack Snyder.
And I'm starting to understand what that means.
Because as I said to her last night, that man only knows how to make one superhero movie. We've already seen Watchmen.
Yeah.
And he keeps doing it over and over and over. And I'm sorry, but again, as I said in the Spider-Verse review, superhero plots are basically ridiculous. You're supposed to have fun with them.
Yes.
Keywords! Have fun!
And I mean, this is where it can take on the fantastical, because humans, well, we're kind of boring. Usually. Sometimes. So it's nice to get away from our own head and go see a movie. So have a fun movie with superheroes that can do cool things.
I couldn't understand the fact that these two people from an underwater civilization can survive in the dry, hot desert without issues.
They didn't seem to have a lot of water with them.
Yeah, that was odd as hell, but this movie is so charming and so much fun that at that point it's like, again, I don't care.
It was one of those things that, depending on how long they were in the desert for more than 20 minutes, they needed water.
Yeah.
But, you were able to kind of fluff over that a little bit.
Again, honestly, most of the problems with this film are so small that they're so easily forgiven.
Yeah. And besides, wet Jason Momoa, just...
Yeah.
For all the women out there and the guys that like guys, wet Jason Momoa, that's all you need to know.
Again, this is the man who somehow lost Sexiest Man Alive to Blake Shelton. It doesn't make sense.
No, there are a lot of guys that I would put above Blake Shelton. Really. Shamar Moore, Idris Elba. Just a lot of guys that I would put before Blake Shelton.
And now, of course, James Wan is known for two things as a director. Horror movies, like the Annabelle films, and
those are good.
I believe The Conjuring.
That one's good too.
And the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Haven't touched that one.
Oddly, the most diverse franchise in Hollywood.
I do.
You would never have expected that, but
I do like Vin Diesel. It's just it hasn't made it to my I'm bored, I want an action film desperately list.
But the reason I bring these things up is he seems to know how to bring in horrific elements, because I'm sorry, around the start of Act 3, there's zombie fish people. And a whole lot of them.
In the trench.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We're talking depths of the ocean. They don't see much light.
No. After this, they go to a kingdom that is like it's a hidden land full of dinosaurs.
Beautiful imagery. Oh my god, the CGI was amazing. The colors, like I would love to see inside the mind that dreamt this up. Because there are water dragons in Atlantis. But you do see these cute little dinosaurs. They probably rip the shreds right off of you if you're not careful. But just this hidden world that's been untouched by civilization is stunning. That alone made the movie worth it.
Oh yeah, and number one, Jurassic World, learn from this.
Yeah, they were cute.
And number two. Why does the movie suddenly go to a hidden land of dinosaurs? Because fuck it, that's why! Juan seems to know that point where he's going to have you won over enough that he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
Now you want to get nuts! Come on! Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
And you don't care?
And I mean, basically they fell through this Bermuda Triangle portal, which is why this area has been untouched by civilization, because no one knows how to get there intentionally. I don't think. But it's basically, it's like a slider tube or a boom tube or a portal, and it was a nice spot.
It went into my kind of insane. And there's moments where I'm going, okay, there's this giant battle underwater that moves up to the surface with giant flotillas of ships and soldiers and all that. And somehow no one from the surface world notices this. Sure! Okay, I'm willing to buy in! I feel like as much as the movie does have continuity problems compared to the previous films, much like Wonder Woman, it's trying to undo this damage that Zack Snyder has done, and it is trying hard, and frankly doing a very good job.
Now, you and I have discussed this. One of your continuity issues is that during Aquaman, they repeatedly state that Arthur hasn't been to Atlantis. Whereas in Justice League, he was for like a hot second while he fights... oh crap, I just watched it again this morning. I'm bad with names.
I'd usually just refer to him as the more crappy Thanos. Steppenwolf.
Thank you, Steppenwolf. So yeah, he actually did battle Steppenwolf in Atlantis, where he did initially meet Mera. I'm still trying to figure out how he doesn't get her name, because they talk.
Yeah.
And then she says, but you need to do this. And he says, well, if I'm going to do this, I need something from you. And I mean, that would be the point where you introduce yourself.
You would think, but again, Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
You can clearly see differences in Aquaman and Mera's characters between that scene and this movie.
Yeah, she's got more balls in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's tougher, but at the same time, softened. Her delivery is less rigid than what we saw in Justice League.
In part because she had more chance to work with the character.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
But, like, between the two, yeah, I would take what we saw in Aquaman every time. There's things like the 5-point trident. Note the air quotes, people.
Well, yes, because tri implies 3. That is what the Latin taught me. Yes.
Yeah, the 5-point trident, as I understand it, was Zack Snyder just thought it would be cool to stick a couple more points on it.
Apparently he's never learned other languages.
Nope.
Okay.
This is the man who once said he needed to do a movie to explain to people how Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all exist in the same universe.
Because reasons.
That's as far as it should ever have to go. James Wan employed the same logic, because in Justice League we see that they have to go into this protective air bubble to talk. Mm-hmm. Wan literally has, not the way I'm going to phrase this, but he's flat out said, fuck it, they can just talk.
How else would how else would Atlanteans communicate?
In the comic books, it would be by telepathy, which on screen would never work.
And when they do talk, I will give them this much. You did not see air bubbles.
No, that's true.
Which was good, because I would have had a shit fit if you saw air bubbles. Because they don't breathe air underwater.
Speaking of breathing air, there was something that I noticed that I thought was going to be a point that we're going to come back to later. So, when Mera first brings Aquaman back to Atlantis, he ends up challenging Orm for the throne, because at this point he's still cocky as hell and thinks he can just take on anybody.
And Orm also goaded him into it by, being a shit. Again, comparison to Joffrey. Works really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, over the course of the battle, it kind of starts to not go terribly well for Arthur.
He's not used to fighting in water.
What jumped out at me was Mera subtly steps in to help Arthur, blasting Orm with water and just carrying him away, and it ends with him in this air bubble. Orm starts coughing up water, and it looks like he can't breathe.
Now, I did notice that. And one of the things that Mera said was that Highborn are able to breathe both water and air.
See, when we see that Orm can't breathe, I was going, is this something they're going to come back? Are we going to find out that Orm is somehow not actually Highborn?
I don't know.
I mean, where they establish him as Arthur's half-brother, that would have been a little odd. But story-wise, it could have also been an interesting point that they unfortunately never go back to.
Yet.
Yes. It would have been nice to see it at least touched on again. I don't expect them to make it the main story of the movie.
And it could also be a point too. I mean, we don't often see Orm out of water. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, no.
So maybe
that was another
thing. Just aren't strong.
That was another thing that jumped, because until the final battle, he never comes out of the water himself.
Yeah, no. Holographs.
Exactly. Yeah, since I can't remember how long we've been talking for, I feel like now is as good a time as any to go into ratings. I'm actually gonna go 4.5 out of 5. It's not perfect. It does have problems, but like I said, a lot of those problems are very small, and I think a lot of them, again, are almost seem like more fixing the damage that the previous movies did. This movie actually figures out how to make Aquaman less of a dick.
And again, it's not Aquaman, it's Jason.
Well, Jason himself apparently still needs work, but one thing at a time.
Yeah. He's pretty.
Visually, like I said, we finally have a DC film I can't complain about.
Which has been a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, with this movie, Warner Brothers seems to want to move away from the shared universe and go back to just doing solo films with each character. No, that's too far. You don't need to do that. Patty Jenkins and James Wan have demonstrated that it is perfectly possible to make a good movie with these characters, consistent mommy and daddy issues with the leads notwithstanding, that actually works.
For me, ratings, my issues weren't with the movie per se. I mean, horrible wigs aside and obvious color clothing and stuff. And for me, part of it was there were some scenes that I couldn't actually understand what was being said. And I'll give you a clue, it's all the underwater scenes. Because they had a bit of an underwater filter.
Yes.
And when you've got a character whose mouth is covered, you can't exactly see what they're saying when you're trying to read their lips. Closed caption might be an idea. Seriously, but that's for movie theaters, not for the movie itself. Yeah. I would give it a solid 4, maybe even a 4.5. For those that don't know the origin story, this gives it to you. For those that don't know the comic background and all of the ins and outs and everything else, and you haven't been reading comics since you were 4 years old, this is a movie to go to because it gives you a lot of that story. And the characters had good chemistry, the actors had good chemistry, which is usually a big thing for me. And yes, like I said, the whole idea of Jason Momoa being a frat boy and teasing Amber Heard comes through loud and clear.
Oh yeah.
Nicole, when I saw her, I was like, okay, this could go one of two ways. It went the good way.
Yeah.
It went the stellar way, actually. She did this role very good. And I adore Arthur's father. He's a cutie. He is. I can't say anything bad about any of the characters. I mean, if you're meant to hate them, you hated them. If you're meant to go, oh, I wish that hadn't happened. This movie brought out in you what you were supposed to feel.
So with that, we're gonna wrap it up here. We actually have a plan for next month now. Instead of Glass for our main review, we'll be going to a film that we've referenced once or twice over discussions in past reviews. The Kid Who Would Be King, which is basically High School King Arthur. So that'll be our main review. We're hopefully still going to hit Glass at some point as a B-roll, because like Trevor's right. This show started with Split. Doing Glass just makes sense. I just have absolutely no idea when we're gonna get to it. And otherwise, you'll find me and, well, let's be honest, Trevor for next month anyways, debatable, on the Pokemon Go Team Nova Community Day videos, also on this channel. And Paula, what about you? What else do you have online where people can find you?
Oh, I am, sorry, I'm out of the broom closet, literally and truly. My business name is Out of the Broom Closet, and I do chainmail and wire wrap jewelry, and I can be found on social media all over the place. My Insta is Out of the Broom Closet HFX, my Facebook is Out of the Broom Closet, and I believe my Tumblr is Out of the Broom Closet Fashions. Don't quote me on that.
And as for her Out of the Broom Closet Twitter, you'll see it in the captions back at the start of this video anyway.
Oh, @ OOT Broom Closet.
Yeah, that one. So on that note, we'll see you at the movies.
Bye, guys.